Quirks are the most important and defining feature of the My Hero Academia universe. With a large majority of the population possessing one of these superhero-like abilities, they play a huge role in both history and present-day society, giving us as an audience a plethora of information to learn about them. In the excitement and the immersion of the story though, it's easy to take for granted some of the most fundamental facts about these special powers, so I wanted to highlight some of the most interesting things we know about Quirks so far. The first person in the world to develop a quirk was a baby in Ching Ching. She came out glowing, hence the nickname the Luminescent Baby, and her parents were shocked to say the least. After this first quirk appeared out of seemingly nowhere, they started to manifest all over the world, leading to the comic book style superhero world we all know and love. The Luminescent Baby is now a famous historical figure in the My Hero Academia universe, and it's really cool that the phenomenon can be traced back to this specific origin. We don't actually know how these abilities spread from that first glowing baby to the approximately 80% of the population that now have them. However, a popular theory is that quirks come from a virus dispersed by mice. For all the speculation, we do know that it spread rapidly and globally. After they started appearing, people began committing more crimes, just because they felt so emboldened by their newfound powers, and people born without quirks resented them. Soon after though, some quirk users started to fight back against the criminals, which ultimately led to the birth of pro heroes. In the Season 4 episode, Relief for Licensed Trainees, the young students from Masagaki Elementary School are shown off their powers in a fight against some of the fledgling heroes of Class 1A. This is how we find out that each generation of quirk users may be even stronger than the last, with present Mike referencing the fact that he didn't have as much power or control over his quirk at that age. We then learn of the Quirk Singularity Doomsday Theory, a theory that predicts quirks will one day become too powerful for people to control. However, in the present day, it's not considered to be much more than a wild idea. Now, in terms of biology, quirks are present on the genetic level, meaning they're an inherent part of a quirk user's body. Genetic traits are present from birth and are passed down in the parent's DNA. So quirks often manifest in early childhood as either a direct replica of one parent's quirk, like with eye color, or a mixture of the two. This suggests that some quirks might be dominant while others are recessive, but we don't know for sure the science behind how exactly they are passed on. Some quirk users develop quirks nothing like their parents, like Aries' quirk for example. There can also be some inherent physical characteristics caused by their parents' quirks while having a completely unrelated quirk themselves. It's conceivable that these could be types of genetic mutation, which often happen randomly in nature and lead towards evolution in the long term if they're beneficial. Considering quirks are thought to be a new phase in human evolution, and with the Quirk Singularity Doomsday Theory pointing towards quirks continuously getting stronger through the generations, it seems possible that quirks themselves could be genetic mutations in general. As you might expect, in a world where people have powerful abilities, there are laws governing quirks in order to keep people safe. It's forbidden to use quirks in public, although this isn't heavily enforced. If your quirk is harmless to others, such as one that allows you to pick something up off the ground without bending over, you won't get in trouble. Additionally, heroes can only use their quirks to defend against others who are also using quirks. So if you steal something and just run away, that's the police's problem. But, say for example, if you blow up a bank using an explosive quirk, that's when the heroes will come and use their powers to stop you. You might remember when Midoriya first entered UA. He had to change his quirk registration because he was down as being quirkless. This registration process is likely used just to keep track of demographic information, for healthcare provision and so on. You can re-register your quirk, as in Midoriya's case, once you better understand it. The example we're given is that you might first understand your quirk as being one that produces water from your body, but as you get older, you learn to control it better, and it turns out that you're actually condensing water particles in the air. We don't know if registering your quirk is legally required, but it's at least implied to be. As I mentioned earlier, heroes came about as a way of maintaining order at a time when powerful abilities meant it became easier to commit crimes. In the present day, however, pro heroes also fill a role much like celebrities in our world. They're entertaining and exciting, and kids look up to them and aspire to become like their favorite heroes. So as well as fighting villains and defending citizens, it's also a hero's job to be a good role model to help shape the heroes of the future, and, like our own celebrities are doing charity work of raising awareness of social issues. Not everyone with a quirk wants to or is able to become a professional hero. We see Jiro's mother having the same quirk as her, Earphone Jack, but unlike her daughter, she uses her quirk in the music industry. There are countless civilians throughout the series, and with the amount of admiration the crowds show when watching the heroes in public, we can see that being a hero is not so common. With such a large proportion of the population being quirk users, it makes sense that not all of those people would want to be pro heroes, but rather would prefer a more simple life. We wouldn't have a story were it not for the fact that some people are born without quirks. These people are called quirkless, and they make up the remaining 20% of the population, including the start with our protagonist Midoriya. What's interesting is that the Japanese word for quirks, kose, can also be translated as individuality. In a world where most people have these pretty often unique quirks, it's actually more quote-unquote individual to not be special, which I think is a really cool twist on the superhero story trope. Well, that wraps up our exploration of everything quirky about My Hero Academia. I've learned a couple things I didn't even know. Looking forward, I'm excited to see what further information will be revealed about these superpowers, how they came to be, and the role they play in people's lives. Be sure to let me know down below what you find most interesting about quirks. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'm a Six Sage, and I will see you in the future for more awesome anime content.